How's it going, YouTube? It's the Basic Bro Travel Show. Here with your boy Prometheus, aka Lando Style Rizian. I'm here today because I want to go over something that I'm hearing a lot of people talk about. And that is, and I've actually mentioned this in a video before, and that is choosing signals. Should men be relying on choosing signals when it comes as a reliable and effective dating strategy? Should you be relying on choosing signals? Now, I'm not talking about should you look for choosing signals, but should that be your main indicator of as to whether or not you should approach a woman? The real question is, beyond that, should short kings, again, I'm in the short king crowd, I'm a short emperor. Should short kings rely on choosing signals? Can we afford to rely on choosing signals when it comes to trying to approach a woman, selecting a woman, etc.? So I want to get into that. But I also have a video of a little luncheon I had today with a friend. We would say homie, lover, friend back in the day, for those old enough to remember. More of a friend with benefits, I guess you would. That's the only other way I can explain it. This is a young lady that I've been kind of kicking it with off and on for over 5 years now. When she's not dating anyone, I'll kick it with her. If I'm not dating anyone, she'll kick it with me, kind of sort of thing. She'll come over, we go eat, might go somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Now there was about a year and a half ago, I think I just got out of a relationship and we had discussed hey, what are we doing? You want to try? But it didn't really go nowhere. And then, to be honest, I might have sabotaged that because I just didn't take it seriously because I felt we had already been just friends with benefits for 3.5 years. You know what I mean? And also, I'm gonna be honest, guys, if a girl isn't kind of, you know what I'm saying? If a girl can go 2, 3, 4 days without calling me, she don't like me. That's just how I feel about it. If you're able to be in a relationship with me and it don't bother you to go 3, 4 days without hearing from me or talking to me, you don't like me. You don't like me enough. You don't like me enough. I put it that way. So our little experiment lasted 2 months. But anyway, I'll show you her. Now, I am buttering her up a little bit, guys. In the video, I'm buttering her up a little. And it's a short video. I'm buttering her up a little bit. We say what we got to say to make the girl happy, man. And in her defense, she just got out of the gym, as you'll be able to tell by her attire. And she has absolutely no makeup on. So that in her defense. But anyway, guys, I'll show you that video. Matter of fact, let me show that right now. Okay, guys, I am with this Mexican girl who looks like Kim Kardashian's sister. Do not play. She looks like a cross between Kourtney Kardashian. Let's be honest. Kourtney? Do you see the Kourtney? And do you see the Jessica Alba? Let's just not play it. She is fine. And we are in Chino Hills doing our thing. Say hi, Jess. All right. Little friend here in Orange County. Hello. I live in Yorba Linda. I think she lives in Fullerton. So if you guys know, you know. If you know the areas, you know. So I wanted to talk about choosing signals. Can we rely on choosing signals as short kings? So let me pull up a chair and let me really get into this. So yeah, so I had to pull up a chair. Let me pull up a chair. Discuss this choosing signal nonsense or this choosing signal situation. So Number one, the reason why you cannot really effectively rely on choosing signals is most women don't send clear signals ever. They don't send clear signals. Even when women are interested, they hide it. They hide how they feel. They fear rejection. They fear judgment, or being labeled like a slut, being labeled easy, and also a lot of us brothers know, especially in places like Southern California, where there aren't anymore a lot of black people here. A lot of times, if you're dealing with an Asian girl or some Latinas, they really go out of their way to not look at you, to act like they didn't see you, to act like they didn't notice you. They put their head down, they scamper away. They go out of their way to act like you don't exist, to be honest, especially the Asian women here in Southern California. So, waiting on them to give you a choosing signal, you'll be waiting a long time. In social settings like malls, women here in America, women in California, train themselves not to flirt or not to stare, not to look. And let me rephrase this topic. Let me rephrase that. Can you rely on choosing signals in the United States? Okay, it's going to be different. It's going to be different elsewhere. But can you rely on choosing signals in the United States? No. And I'm listing, I'm listing the reasons why. If you wait for a clear signal, you'll only ever meet like the 10% of girls that are bold enough to approach a man. And think about it. Think about your experiences. The women that have been bold enough to approach you, were they really the classy girls? I've been approached. You've been approached. We've all been approached. That's kind of why some of us have gotten into somewhat of a habit of relying on choosing signals, because we have been approached. We have experienced women approaching us or making it crazy obvious they are interested. But is it ever the classy girl? Most of the times it's somebody that's kind of off a little bit, let's be honest. Or a torrential slut. One or the other. It's never somebody wife material who walks up to you first and starts making it super obvious that she's interested. Okay, number two. Again, most of my experience and is coming from a Southern California point of view, so I will acknowledge that. But number two, you have a modern neutral face or resting bitch face culture nowadays, where, especially like in LA, Orange County, San Diego, women they're like conditioned to look unfazed, unbothered, or slightly mean. Like, and they'll notice you without showing it. If you're bold, like sometimes I've done this, I'll walk past someone and then look around, look back to see them, and then they'll go. Not all the time, but I've got, if you do it, you'll catch people, because it's unnatural just to act like someone who just walked past you don't exist. Even if I'm not even saying they're interested, but they'll behave as if you don't exist. And so that's kind of what's happening. So, but the sense you'll get from from these women, is they're not interested, even if they are, because they kind of have like a neutral face culture here. So when you're relying on like visible choosing signals, It's like waiting for someone to wave a flag of interest that they're never going to wave. Um, the the social script here is almost like be cold until you somehow break that script. And now, have you done this? Have you approached women that acted super neutral, and then you just bold, you just don't care. Maybe you've had a drink and you go talk to them, and then they're warm and friendly. But if you didn't do that, they were never gonna say anything to you. So waiting on her for a choosing signal was not coming. Now, I do get it. I have had girls give me choosing signals, and they weren't sluts and they weren't off crazy or nothing like that. But it's very, very rare. Sometimes a woman she really does think you're very attractive, and she can't help herself. She just wants to say hi to you. But dude, if you're not in the Chris Brown level, you're not gonna get the woman who thinks you're irresistibly attractive too often. So you'll be waiting on the 2% of women who find you irresistible to get a choosing signal from her. Because that's almost what it's going to take for an American girl to step out of her comfort zone in this training that they've given themselves over the last 10, 15 years to be cool, act calm, don't give guys any attention. Women nowadays here in the United States almost behave as if they dislike men, or like it's some sort of shame for them to let a man know they're interested. So she has to be super into you many times to break out of that mode. And so if you're okay with waiting on the 3 girls per year that are that into you, that they're about to go against their normal programming of remaining cold, well, you do that, but you're going to be getting a very few dates. Okay, number 3, your demographic your demographic profile adds complexity if you're a short king. And if you're a black short king, it's going to add some complexity. So look, there's nothing wrong with anyone being whatever race they are, okay? But different racial groups have different challenges, and we all know that. We all know that. And yes, black men are popular. Yes, a lot of girls like black guys, but you're still, in any time you are intermingling with folks outside of your race, you're still fighting a somewhat uphill battle. Even if that girl likes you, there's a good chance her parents don't, especially depending on the ages of the parents. So, and it's a huge chance her grandparents don't. So you're fighting an uphill battle. That's not to say, come on, man, we've all dated girls that were not our race. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it does add complexity. When you throw on short king on top of that, and you know what else? Believe it or not, a lot of times, and I'd like to hear from some of you to see if you agree with me on this. A lot of times, women who find you attractive assume you get lots of attention. And we'd be like, he don't need his head blown up any further. He's probably not interested. He gets women. He looks like a player, especially if you're black. He looks like a player, or Latino. He looks like a player. And you might not have had a date in 7 months. And I'm saying these are the girls who do find you attractive. So you're not going to get a choosing signal from her or the one who didn't find you attractive or the one who didn't realize you exist. Get me? So there's various reasons. There could be various levels of interest from a woman, from none to a lot, and none of them give you choosing signals. You see what I'm saying? Number 4, choosing signals come after presence, not before. Okay? A woman's most obvious signals, they often appear after you've made light contact. A glance, a situational comment, that smile she gives you. What most men call choosing signals are actually reaction signals. I was at the grocery store the other day, and there was this girl that she's mildly attractive. She's a cute Mexican girl. You know, teller, a cashier, and I'll go in there. I go in there all the time, 3 days a week at least, and seen her in there. Just a quick hi, just barely say anything. You know what I'm saying? Nothing much. Well, about last week, I said, let me try something. Because I've been coming into this grocery store for months, seeing this girl at least twice a week. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, she's not obligated to like me, but I'm just like, I think she's kind of cute. Let me just see. So I went through the line and I said, man, you sure do work a lot. Now, I don't know if she works a lot, and I don't feel she works a lot. I just said that. I said, man, you sure are in here all the time. You must work a lot. Do you know this woman went from, this girl, I mean, she looks like she's about 23. She's like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do work a lot, but I got 3 days coming up. I couldn't stop her from talking. This girl went from not saying anything to me other than, have a good day, have a good day, to, yeah, I got 3 days coming up. And I said, oh, cool for you. I hope you enjoy your days. And she cut it. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but just kept going on. Now I start getting the choosing signals, but the choosing signals came after I did something about it, after I made an approach, after I let it be known I was interested. Then I start getting the choosing signals. So a lot of what men are thinking of as choosing signals are actually reaction signals. If you're passive, if you don't try anything, you'll never trigger the choosing signals. You'll never trigger them in the first place. You know what I mean? You'll never get them. It's like waiting on people to clap, to applaud before you performed. You're not Michael Jackson. Only Michael Jackson could do that. Stand there and get applause before he even did anything. You're not Mike. You have to perform first. Then they'll, that's exactly, to me, what a choosing signal is. It's waiting on applause before you've performed. So you don't want to do that. So let's get to number 5. The opportunity cost of waiting on choosing signals is huge. While you wait for a woman to signal you, someone else is already talking to her. Get me? While you're waiting on her to show you some huge sign of interest, someone else is already in there talking with her. You have to be bold enough to do something, especially here in the United States. Now, overseas now, so that's the 5 reasons why waiting on choosing signals in the United States, you'll be waiting a long time. Overseas, it's different. Only in the red light areas, guys. Yes, in Pattaya, Well, Susua's gone. Seems like Susua's gone the way of the dodo bird. Susua might have gone the way of the dinosaur, guys, from what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing it from my little friend that's still, that I, my little friend who lives out there, a girl, female. She's telling me it's dead. It's dead. But I don't know for sure. You guys do your own research. But in Susua, formerly, or Pattaya, or places like that, yeah, you don't really have to. You can rely on choosing signals. Girls will walk right up to you and start talking, but that's not real, man. That's not real. That's not real. It's not real. That's not real life. Now, I will say this. Overseas, the women tend to be a little more demonstrative and friendly because they don't have that just built in, just mean mug, just pretend men. They don't have, it doesn't appear as of yet, women in Southeast Asia or Latin America have a disdain or a dislike for men yet. Feminism has made women here in the United States, I don't know if the word is don't like us or fearful of us or what. And not just feminism. Men act a fool here too. We're shooting up schools and stuff. You know what I mean? So, I mean, men can be scary. I get it. But whatever the reasons, I don't want to get into all that. But women act like they don't like us too much here unless you're of that top 10, 15%, and very short kings are going to be in that 10% of handsome dudes, guys. We're just not that. So relying on a woman to run up to you and give you a hug and a kiss, you'll be waiting a long time. But overseas in Southeast Asia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Latin America, Colombia, Dominican Republic, places like that, the women don't seem to hate men as much. And so you will get more smiles or, they're more open to your advance, but you do get, like, especially in the Philippines, I've noticed, if I'm going up the escalator and a girl's coming down, on 2 or 3 occasions in the 3 weeks I was there last time, I'll have a girl go, look back up at me like the movies, and on an escalator. You know what I mean? I've had girls kind of like double take and some of that is they just don't hate, they don't dislike men. They still like men. You know what I mean? Number one. Number two, they can see that we're American or they can see we're different, which of course brings about curiosity. And if they really wrap it in their mind, like, hey, hey, American, everyone knows what that means. Basically, an American over there is almost like a lawyer here. So the reaction the reaction your sisters and aunts would have if you introduced your friend and you're like, hey, I want you to meet my friend. He's an attorney. Oh, he doesn't suddenly become Elvis, but they perk up a little bit like, oh, attorney. Oh, okay. Your aunt, you know your sister, your cousins. They would be like, oh, he would have a little more interest. He'd be a little more interesting, right? That's how you are when they know you're American and you're overseas, because your income to them is a lawyer's income is in relation to ours. You know what I'm saying? So you're the lawyer over there. You're the doctor over there, right? Depending on what you make. I mean, I don't know what folks make anymore, but yeah. So overseas, the choosing signals are a bit stronger, slightly, but you still got to approach because you're dealing with women over there who expect the men to be men. You're dealing with If you're in Southeast Asia, you're dealing with Asian women who tend to have a shy, reserved culture. You're also not Asian, so they could be a little. And let's be honest, even if people in other countries are wise enough to realize that a lot of the propaganda said about black men is lies, we are still kind of an intimidating group of men. We're usually bigger. We're not short kings. We're not tall, but we're more physically imposing. We can be scary a little bit if we're just being honest. We're loud. You know what I mean? So while they might be intrigued physically, there's also some, some intimidation there just by your presence. If you're intimidating, that doesn't really lend to a girl running up to you going, "Hey, I like you. You know what I mean?" So even overseas, don't expect a bunch of choosing signals outside of the red light districts. You're just going, there's no way to get around it. You're going to have to be bold and approach. There's no way to get around being bold. So there it is, especially if you're a short king. You got to be bold. You got to approach. You're going to have to make the first move outside of the red light districts. And shoot, sometimes in the red light districts, you're still dealing with Asian women, man. They're shy. So, and women are shy in general, man. So you're going to have to do the approach. You're going to have to be a man. You're going to have to step up. There's no way out of it. All right, guys. Till the next one.